We have sound working, right? Hopefully we have sound working. So this is PWA All The Things, just to make sure that everybody's in the right room. I'm just kidding, there's only one room. All right, so what are we doing today? Actually, not that. So we're going to talk about what not, who, where, and how PWAs. Does that sound good to everybody? Yeah. How many people here have used PWAs? And how many people have not? And who just doesn't like raising their hand? Gotcha! I got you, all of you. Okay, so who is this weirdo up on the stage? My name is Tara Manicsic, and you can find me at TZManics on Twitter. I'm a developer advocate for progress. I recently became a Google developer expert. Woo! And I'm also the founder and director of Cincinnati Women Who Code, and I am now the sole organizer of Cincy Node School, and most importantly, the human mama of Tosh Magosh. Who is Tosh Magosh, you may ask? It's this bundle of weird right here. She is amazing, though. So, it's, 5 o'clock now. It's me and Randall between you and happy hour. So I wanted to do something to kind of liven your spirits, kind of like get you up there. But more importantly, it's hard to remember all these things. It's hard to retain everything. And one of the things that helped me so much with retaining information was obviously like the really, really high education of Schoolhouse Rock. But I wanted to modernize it a little bit. So just for you, to help you learn, because I care about you so much, I'm going to make a fool of myself and do a rap challenge. So what this is I am going to rap out a few verses, and I want you all to work together and say the last word all together as a community. So just to test, is everybody ready for this? Oh gosh. Maybe a little more? Is everybody ready? Yeah, oh my gosh. Now I'm scared. Okay. Are you ready? Here we go. Okay, good. My name is Tara, and I'm here to say, to build a modern web, this is the way. Manifest and service workers are they, and will help you build a... Oh, good job. You are all so smart. I am so excited. So yes, that's all that we'll do for the whole rest of the session. I'm kidding, but there are a lot in here. I specifically added more just for all of you, and because it's 5 o'clock here. So I will also give you information, okay? So the first thing that I want to really delve into, progressive web apps can be a little daunting. Not everybody really understands what they are. So I'm going to try different levels of explaining what progressive web apps are. High level. The way I like to put this is strategies to make web apps more engaging, more reliable, and more fast, using modern web technologies like push and cache APIs. So this is very soft, right? It's very squishy. It's just like, okay, cool, that sounds great. I want to make things better, duh. So let's go to another level. This is some other level. So more in depth, you add JavaScript and JSON files to your project to add capabilities like push notifications, offline caching, full screen views, and more. Let's go another level deeper, which this is so dorky, but I had to do this, which is the Daibendu level. If you do not know what the Daibendu level is, it's a very obscure Star Wars reference to the Jedi, not the Jedi, it's an order of Jedi, but, sorry, but it means mystic center. And these parts of progressive web apps, some people find them such a mystery, but they're at the center of what makes progressive web apps. So it's very fitting, okay? I'm not a dork, it's fitting. Okay, so what is the mystic center? Service workers and the app manifest file. So we're gonna dive into these a little more. And in order to do that, we obviously need a rap challenge, right? Is everybody ready? Okay. I gotta get the beat right. When your network is being a shirker, thank your stars for this little lurker. Caching and pushing data for sure. Make load times fast with a service. Good job. I have a very raspy voice from getting over a cold, but I thought it had a perfect effect for this. So, I'm a developer, right? I don't remake things that already exist. No developers do that. But really, I decided to show you MDN's explanation of a service worker because they obviously spent a lot of time to make this really concise. So I'll put it here that, it's basically a proxy server in between your web application and the browser and network when the network's available. But this is why I called it a lurker. It's a JavaScript file, and I'm sure people here have written in JavaScript, right? Yeah. So it's something you know. It's something that you're familiar with. So this is basically a JavaScript file that's sitting in between your app and your network or your in the browser. And it's basically saying, I'm going to wait here. I don't care if the network's available. I don't care if your application is available. Even if your app is closed, I'll sit here and wait and do this chore that you want me to do. This is a JavaScript file with promises. It's waiting for callbacks. So you understand the technology. You understand the code in service workers. But it's on this crazy spectrum of, yes, it's just JavaScript. But also, yes, it does a whole amount, a crazy amount of things. So it can be very daunting. But I want you all to remember that it is just JavaScript. It is stuff that you understand. And this is what it looks like. So this is a very fundamental version of a service worker. And it's checking to see, with an if statement, if it's supported, because this is progressive. So if it's not supported, it goes on and moves on. Nothing breaks. You're fine. But then you're also going in and you register a service worker. So the first time you go to somebody's site, if they're caching information for you with a service worker, it's not going to happen the first time because it needs to register. But again, I just want to keep it pretty high level so you're comfortable in understanding that you can do this. It's a very attainable thing, and it will do a lot for you. So this is how push notifications work. So if you have the service worker sitting there, independent of if your application is closed or not, but it gets a ping from the network that it has a push coming through the push API. It tells your user, hey, we got something coming in, wake up, get this going, and it does that work for you. So let's move on and get into that more a little bit later, because it's again time for a rap challenge. You're going to be so good after this. And also, please remember that rapping is not my day job. Okay. Is everybody ready? Yay! Okay, here we go. Make your web app look like the rest. Add to the home screen on a user's behest. Full screen views if you like that best. All things you can do with an app. Good job. We got teacher's pet over here, Mr. Broccolini. Okay, so app manifest. Again, let's not rewrite what already exists really well. The web app manifest, it's a JSON file. Okay, maybe some people out here haven't written JavaScript. That's understandable. Has anybody here written JSON? Nobody here has written JSON? Oh my goodness. I'm not shaming you. Don't take that. I think it's a good thing, because JSON is so fun and easy. It just means you have a really fun and easy thing for all of you that haven't written JSON. Just kidding. So this is giving your browser the data to tell them how to handle your application, what it should look like on the phone, how it should interact. And it's so awesomely simple. I love this. So in the JSON file, you start out with the name to identify your application. Best part ever is the short name. This is what shows up under the icon when they add it to your home screen. And it supports emojis. Right? So exciting. Simone is here, so she's going to have to now do an individual rap to make up for not being here in the first part. So the next thing on here is icons. And so you have Android icons, and you also, there's a ton of icons that you could put in here. I just put the Android icons at the time of writing this. And then the start URL is basically saying, when they open this application from the home screen, where do we want it to take them? So you can set it and you can guide your users the way that you want them to go with this information. Or if you leave it blank, it will just go to whatever page they were on when they added it to the home screen. This line, this one key value pair here, display standalone, gives you a full screen app. So you can set that to browser as well and still have the browser Chrome if you need it. But it's like one line, 2 words that change the way users interact with your application. I find that extremely impressive. And with, I'll talk about this more in depth later, but with iOS you do still have gaps. But they're getting there, you know. So background color, that's basically saying it's going to take a second for us to, not a full second, but it's going to take a little bit of time to switch over to your application, bring up the browser. So let's show them a color, let's get something going so they know something's happening. And the theme color does like the search bar so it matches there, and you get some consistency among what they're seeing. And look at these emojis. Why wouldn't you want to use emojis when you put an icon on somebody's cell phone? Like, that's just beautiful. So I'm going to run over 10 words that you will see all the time with progressive web apps to help you understand that progressive web apps aren't just like, oh, make it a progressive web app. It's not just like this chunk thing. There's these 10 words that help describe it, and it's a 20-minute talk, so we're going to go quickly through that. Progressive. We talked about progressive because basically you're not breaking anything. You're building something up. You're progressively building it up. So you don't have to worry about breaking things. But also your user experience is progressive. So they start using your app on the web, decide to add it to the home screen, have it in the home screen, do the full screen view, add push notifications. You're progressively engaging your user more and more. It's also responsive. And it's basically so you have a good, coherent switch from web app and mobile. But I feel like a lot of people are making everything responsive nowadays anyway. Connectivity independent. If they don't have a good network, not everywhere has LTE. Some places are still on 3G. You need to think about your users. Even if you go up into the mountains, you're going to get super limited service. So it happens everywhere. So let's think about that. Let's think about our users. App-like. You have these things, so when they open up your application on their phone, it is like they're using an app. It's engaging like they're using an app. Fresh. So one of my favorite things, and I probably should have double-checked the notes because I was like, this is definitely what fresh means. And now with Brad over there, I'm like, man, I hope that I'm right about this. But it's basically saying when you have to make an update, you can make it rapidly. So you don't have to wait for stores. You don't have to wait for responses. You can push your code up and your app is updated. It's fast. It's fresh. Safe. So think about service workers. You're taking network requests and manipulating them, and that doesn't sound safe. That sounds like, not that anybody really wants a safe internet. Nobody cares about that. But service workers have to go over HTTPS. Has to be on a secure network, otherwise, on localhost. But it's important for it to be safe. They understood that. That's why they made it this way, to only be on HTTPS. Discoverable. PWAs are recognized as an application, so engines will find it. So it can be discoverable. Re-engaging. Push notifications. But home screen icons. This is all things that get your user back into using your application. Installable. This I think is really cool. They're able to install it onto your home screen, but also Chrome will ask the user, and if you go to certain apps now, you're getting this already. It'll say, do you want to add this to your home screen? So it's the browser working for you again. Like we had that once before, and now we're getting it back again. Happy days are here to stay. So linkable. This means when you're sharing, when you need to share with people your application, you can just send them a link. So let's move on to what it's not. Because I think this is equally important to understand so you don't get worried. This is one of my favorite GIFs. Okay, it is not replacing native mobile applications. This is a very in-depth topic, and there's a lot of things that native can do that you can't get from the web right now. My coworker, TJ Van Tol, has a more in-depth, he works for NativeScript, has a more in-depth blog post on this. It's also not just mobile. We keep talking about this in the mobile sphere and like thinking about it in mobile, but that's because when we're on the internet, we usually have a Wi-Fi connection. You know, we usually have a very strong connection, but you don't always have that for phones, so we focus on mobile, but you can get gains from lifting. No, from on being on your laptop, using it on your web. They're not for everyone. So maybe these aren't things that you need. Maybe this isn't a change that you want to make. No big deal. You know, it's not for everyone. It's also not a reason to burn it to the ground. So I know that nobody on any development team has been like, this new thing, it's out. I must destroy everything and start again. You don't need to do that. Everything you're doing with progressive web apps, and you know, if you're going from web app to PWA, you're adding things. So tell that one coworker, again, that they do not need to destroy everything and make something new. So, who is this for? Or who is doing this? This is for everybody. But who's doing it? Google, Alex Russell is the first person that like brought this to light, or brought attention to it. Microsoft, and slowly but surely, they're there, right? So they just recently released beta for support for progressive web app capabilities, and so we have these main companies backing and really championing progressive web apps. So where can you use this then? All these things. So with Chrome and Android, you basically have all of the basic tools for progressive web apps. And Jake Archibald has a really great site to test if it's working, which I will put links out with my slides. And then Edge is doing a really awesome thing where they're actually bringing PWAs to their store. And they're hooking PWAs up with Electron to make it so that you can download these things on the store and use it in Edge. So that's really great. And then again, Safari is making efforts. They're bringing out beta to make this happen. And so some things don't fully work. Like manifests aren't going to show up exactly how you think they're going to show up. Transparencies don't show up. And also like service workers are doing this weird balancing act because when you're on iOS, you may be using Chrome. And so Safari may bring down files, and so will Chrome. And so they have to figure that out. But it's beta, and they're trying. So, we talked about progressive web apps, what they are, what not, who, where, or you could also say what not, who, where. Moving on. Let's talk about how. So we're going to talk about how with Angular, React, and Vue. Guess what that means? Rap challenge time. Okay, is everybody ready? Wow. Everybody fell asleep. Everybody's mind has been blown. Okay, here we go. Let's just do it. This framework is why we traveled so far. Injection, components, also modular. The team at Google really made a star. Let's make a PWA with... Good job. That one was so hard to rhyme with, I have to tell you. I was just like, I'm pulling something out of thin air here. So I would be remiss if I do not talk about the company that I work for and what we make. And I just want to point out that we have native Angular components, and you get everything with them. But me and my amazing coworker Alyssa talked about this earlier, so we're going to keep going. So with the Angular CLI, we now are able to put a service worker flag on there by doing Angular CLI-G to install it, and then adding, when we do ng-new project name, we can do a service worker flag. And I'm pretty sure Mike Brocky made this all by himself, right? Nobody helped you? You were the only one that worked on this? Okay. So this basically, when you look into this, into your source app module.ts, you will see now when you create your project, you have, you're importing a service worker from Angular, and it's checking to make sure you're in production before it starts registering your service worker, and then you can build up your service worker from there. You can also make configurations for it in the config file in your source directory. When you want to add a manifest.file, you go to source assets and add that manifest file that we were talking about earlier. So again, I'm going to talk about Alyssa. Alyssa will more than likely come out with something super amazing to talk about this more in depth and how it works with Angular. So check out Kendo UI to keep track of her and her amazingness. KendoUI.com. Moving on. Rap challenge. They're going to come in quick succession now. Are you ready for this? You got to get on your rapping game now. Here we go. We're just doing it. And the beat's so slow. This library is Facebook backed, and very well known that is a fact. If you diss it to a fan, you might get smacked. Let's build a PWA with nice. Yeah. So, I need to wrap this up. I'm very sorry. Randall, are you okay with this? I don't see a Viking hat. He's given up on me. Okay. So React. Basically, you can use Create React App that will give you a template, that will give you everything that you need, a skeleton project that is supporting PWAs. So all you do, Create React App, make the project name. This is how you bring in progress wrappers. We also now have built from the ground up for React as well. And when you have this, you immediately get the manifest.json, and you have a register service worker.js. So again, another command line tool that's making it easy for you to get into PWAs. Guess what? Rap challenge time. Okay, is everybody ready? Yeah. Yay, okay. This one's fun. Now this library is on version 2, built by a man named Evan Yu. You can use all the things or just a few. Now let's build a PWA with, good job. So Vue.js, also command line tool helping you to build a PWA. Vue CLI, install it globally, and then they actually have a template. So they do Vue init PWA for the PWA template and your project. And guess what? We also have components for Vue at Kendo. So this is how you add Kendo pieces. But this is what you get when you generate the project. You have a manifest.json that they actually walk you through, like when you do npm init, and it fills that in for you. And you have service worker prod and dev. So that all comes to you. And you can see in Chrome DevTools that there's an application tab to give you information about your manifest and the service workers. Check that out. That's very handy, debugging tool. So thank you very much for having me. I have all the information on TZ Manix, but you have to understand that obviously I wouldn't let you go that easily. One last rap challenge. You wanted, really? I'm sorry. But you'll like this one. I swear you'll like this one. Okay, one last one. Is everybody ready to do one more joint thing as a community together? Okay, all right, here we go. Here we go. I think you know this. We're not too far away from Savannah. Such awesome speakers, no top banana. Am I having fun? Yeah, duh. I'm with you all at NG. Yay, all right, I'm done, I swear. Thank you all very much.